so glad you're here. My name's Cath,
And I'm Shannon.
and before I begin, it's going to tell us something that's very important.
Yes. Okay. So, hi. If you like what you hear and you like what you see and you love to laugh along with us, please subscribe to our channel and like it and share it with friends. We love to share our laughter with others. Okay, that's it. Back to the show.
That's it. That's it. Right. Here we go. We are so excited. We've got a guest with us today. This is Shannon Anderson. She is a TEDx speaker. Hello. Certified brain coach and award-winning children's book author who spent over 26 years inspiring young minds as an elementary school teacher and professor. Named one of the top 10 teachers who inspired the Today Show, Shannon brings high energy, heart, and humor to every stage she steps on. And she's now stepped onto the stage of the Right Away Afterparty. And Shannon, we're so glad to have you here.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And actually, the high energy is the reason why I was drawn to you right away. I don't know you personally, and I was just excited to get to know you on the podcast and just have you on because we all are about laughter and just fun. And, this is really hard work, what we do. But
I was gonna say, excuse me, there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind this giggling.
yes, there's a lot of seriousness, but we love to laugh and smile. And I always, every time I see you online or anything, you just have this beaming smile. So I'm like, she has to be on our podcast.
Yep.
So thank you for coming on. Okay, so I just want to jump right into craft, just straight away.
Oh, okay.
So your first book, well, I don't know, it wasn't your first book. It definitely was not your first book. So I saw your podcast, I saw your website, and you have many books. But I Love Strawberries just took off like bananas.
No. What? But it's about strawberries. How can it take off like bananas?
And I kind of wanted your response to that. Like, what do you think was about that book that just made it just so popular?
Well, here's the funny thing, and this is what I always tell kids at author visits, is that it actually was my first story I ever wrote, to be submitted to become a book. It wasn't the first one that was published. It wasn't even the first 5, but I wrote it when I was first learning how to write books for kids. And my angle with the book was actually determination and perseverance. Like I wanted that to be kind of the theme about this girl who is so passionate about growing her own food, specifically strawberries, that she will not stop at anything to try to have her own strawberry patch. And so it's through her diary entries you get to see her convincing her parents that she's responsible enough, she's old enough, she can help with the lemonade stand to help pay for them, and that she can grow other things if she could just get this chance to grow strawberries. So that was kind of my whole take was, it's about this girl who's determined. This is an important trait for kids to have. And my mom always used to say that I was very strong-willed. So out of all of my books, many of them are based on either former students of mine or my own personal girls, my own daughters. But this one is kind of more about me. So Jolie is very determined, and she also writes in a diary. And I used to be a big diary writer. I also had my own strawberry patch. And so all of those things kind of came in. And when I wrote it, I kept getting rejections. I kept getting what I call no thank you letters. And so I got many.
So sweet. No thank you letters.
It just seems a little less.
Yes, it's less abrasive, Shannon. Yeah. I love that.
I think I'm going to adopt that. The no thank you.
You can, yes. And so anyway, I got no thank you letters for 10 years on that story.
Wow.
And the thing is, I took it to my very first writing conference I ever went to learn about writing for kids. Mm-hmm. And some conferences, as you know, have contests. And so I entered it into the children's division contest, and it won first place. And so I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is great. This is going to go somewhere. It's going to become a book maybe. And it didn't. It kept getting no's. And some of the no's were because it was a longer text than a normal children's book text. I don't know the exact word count, but it's definitely more on the 1,000-word range than the 500-word range. And the other thing about it was I have all these diary entries, but then also the regular narrative text throughout. And a lot of editors didn't want to deal with the layout of it. How would an illustrator be able to put, some of the diary entries versus the regular text, and then the illustrating of the things that are going on in her thoughts for the diary and the illustrations for what's going on in real time, all of that. And it wasn't until Feeding Minds Press, which is the publishing arm of the Farm Bureau Foundation, I sent it to them and I didn't even like think of it as being an agriculture book.
Oh,
I thought of it as determination. I was thinking more the SEL, the social
yeah.
emotional learning route. And when she read it, she said, "Oh, this is great. This is showing how strawberries are grown, and you're chronicling in her diary the actual time frame of the strawberry life cycle. And you have these fun facts in here about strawberries. Like kids can learn so much about strawberries." And I was like, oh, that's the angle. And so then I mean, they took it and they had Jacqueline Sinquette illustrate it, who is amazing, so talented. And so it just ended up really doing well. And the Farm Bureau Foundation embraced it. The Ag in the Classroom educators that come into classrooms all over the country were taking it and using it. And it ended up getting the National Book of the Year award from the Farm Bureau Foundation, which was a
Wow.
really huge deal for me.
Yes.
And then that led to me writing I Love Blueberries. Because at the
Ah.
end of the I Love Strawberries book, her mom takes her to a blueberry farm and she falls in love with blueberries.
Oh,
So anyway, that's what happened with it, and it just kind of took
Wow.
off. And I think it's fun, strawberries, everyone loves strawberries. And
yeah.
so it's a fun thing. It's easy to incorporate in classrooms. You can make strawberry jam or smoothies or whatever. And strawberries have become part of pop culture. I mean, even like Kate Spade had a strawberry line that, last year. And so
Yeah.
it just was kind of a fun thing. And so now there's I Love Blueberries. And just to let you know, just 2 days ago, I signed a contract for I Love Pickles. So
Yeah.
so that's new. I haven't even announced that
Oh
publicly
my
yet.
gosh. Okay.
So
Wow,
Well,
you
right
heard it
away,
here.
Afterparty exclusive.
yeah, that's right. At the end of the blueberry book, her friend hands her a jar of pickles, and she realizes that they come from cucumbers. And so now all of a sudden she's like, "Oh my goodness, I love pickles." And so now I Love Pickles is coming. I don't know how soon. It'll probably be 1.5 to 2 years because, the illustrating and all the things. So
Yeah. Do you actually like pickles? Do you love
I
pickles?
do. I
I
do.
love
Yeah.
pickles too.
I mean,
I don't. So I'll be
You
very,
don't.
very curious. I love
yeah, it is
cucumbers.
a really divisive thing. Like you ask people and they either love them or hate them. Like there aren't
Mhm.
many people that are like, nah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
That's so
So
much
my
fun.
grandsons made a board game, but the board was all around the house, so it was a big sort of adventure thing. And one of the tasks, if you landed on it, was you had to eat a pickle.
Oh,
And they love pickles, and
that
their
could be
dad
good or
loves pickles.
bad.
My daughter and I are like,
Oh, I love pickles. I would eat it. I'll eat it for you, Cath.
yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I would never have thought the agricultural route either. But like now that I'm thinking about the book, that I
Fascinating.
have read your book, it very much matches kind of a nonfiction script, like the way
Mhm.
that she does draw the like grow the strawberries, and she's so
Mhm.
knowledgeable about the soil and like what it's going to take. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a cool way to look at your work. Like you had thought about it from the SEL point of view, and all of a sudden it became like a nonfiction part of like agriculture and farming. That's and to
Mhm.
have that backing, wow, that's incredible. And what an award!
Yeah.
Gosh, wow, that's just
Well, and then taking off in the Blueberry book, knowing that they want accurate ag, I incorporated hydroponics and a
Yeah.
female
oh,
farmer and,
oh,
other, modern ag things. And so, and same thing with the pickle book, I've got, food preservation because you're turning cucumbers into pickles and using a high hoop house. So
oh
greenhouses.
wow.
So just trying to get more ag concepts in there to share with kids so they know more about how their food comes to be.
You just never
Brilliant.
know where your career is going to
I
take
know.
you.
I would have
Just
never guessed that I would be, at least twice a year to 10 times a year presenting for various Farm Bureau foundations and conferences and Egg in
Wow.
the Classroom. And I love it. Like the
And
people that are involved in those organizations are amazing people.
and how
Wow.
did you learn or think or know to go to them?
I didn't. I just kind of I was studying different at the time. I didn't have an agent, and so I was just kind of studying the different houses that were open to unsolicited manuscripts. And Feeding Minds Press was this little publisher that I found, and I thought, oh, well, that sounds, like one I should send it to, and it
Fascinating.
definitely was.
Oh
So
my gosh. So are you represented now? Do you have an agent
I
now?
am, yes, yeah,
Okay. And
yeah.
are you finding it much different now that you have an agent? Are you finding that your career is much different? Is it giving you more time, more freedom? What is it
Well,
doing?
it gives me more time I mean, I have less stress on, trying to find the houses that will take unsolicited manuscripts. And she also helps with the whole, the cover letter is different when the agent is sending it than when you're
Yeah.
sending it yourself. And they have their own connections and they have knowledge of editors and what they're looking for. So that is really helpful and gives me a lot more confidence going into something.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she got me a 2-book deal that will the first book will be coming out next year. And it's something that I wouldn't have even known about that publisher. And it's based
Wow.
in the UK and they just started publishing with an imprint in the US. And so I wouldn't have even known about that. And turns out it's been an amazing experience, great publisher, and they got an amazing illustrator. So I'm super excited about the future of that series.
I love that for you. And oh my gosh, I'm so invested in the idea that, like, do you only write picture books? I mean, I know you have, we're going to talk in a minute about the other book that you just recently wrote, which is writing from scratch. But as far as just your actual like career in itself, like, is it only picture books? Because I didn't really see
No,
anything else on
no,
your web.
actually, I have written some chapter books. Like Yay,
Uh-huh.
You Failed is a chapter book that's
Oh, it
about
is. Okay. I
growth
wasn't sure.
mindset. Uh-huh. And
Okay.
Mindset Power is also a growth mindset chapter book that's for older readers. I've also done some that are, well, I did one Christian middle grade. Um, And I've done some that were like work for hire things. When I first stopped teaching in 2020 to write and speak full time, I was, trying to do other things to get more books out, but also extra revenue, when you first stop teaching. And so I
Hmm.
did a lot of work for hire, and a lot of those were chapter books, nonfiction
Okay.
chapter book series, things like that. The story of Benjamin Franklin is a chapter book biography. So I have done those, but my favorite thing is picture books for sure.
Oh, I love picture books too. There's just something about being able to finish an entire like piece in, like, just like even just going back to revise it. It's just like,
Mhm.
a couple of days here and there, with a because I'm more of a novelist, and it's like that's just like a very long project.
Yes, it's a commitment.
But I love picture books. They're just so much fun. So let's talk about writing from scratch, because I think this is such an incredible idea, and I really wanted to talk to you about, like, did you come up with it? So here's my part questions. Did you come up with the marketing for it first? Did you come up with the idea for it first, or was there an audience and then you matched what there was missing in the marketplace? So
Okay.
those are my questions.
So this came roundabout in a way that I thought was a scam, actually,
Oh no,
because
that does happen. It does happen.
it does.
Right.
I've been scammed. But so one of my favorite things when I was teaching at the elementary level was writing time and getting kids excited about writing. And we never had a writing curriculum until like the last 2 years of my
Hmm.
20 plus years teaching. And so it was always up to us to kind of figure out ways to teach the different writing skills and get kids to be creative with their craft.
Oh my gosh, I
And
don't think I knew that, honestly. Like, I really didn't know
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
incredible. That's a lot of
And
pressure on a teacher that's not a
it
writer.
is. It is. And what I found too is that the the methods classes that we take in college to become a teacher, they have methods of teaching math and literature and science and even art, music, and PE, but there is no methods of teaching writing class.
Oh,
And that
Exactly.
blows my mind. Even today, I mean, my daughter is a teacher and she, just got out of college 6 years ago and she didn't have it. I was teaching at the college level 2 years ago and that college didn't have it. No one has it. And
wow.
it's like a subset of the teaching literature class where you might have a week or two that you talk about teaching writing, but it's really not a full class. And so a lot of teachers lack confidence there. Well, part of while I was teaching, I was the writing coach. So for 4 years, I was specifically going into classrooms, modeling lessons for teachers, sharing ways that you can teach specific writing skills in ways that are engaging for kids. That is not just give them the prompt and have them go through all the steps of the publishing process, but actually going in and talking about what does it mean to use strong verbs or what does it mean to use some of these figurative language devices. Even at the elementary level, they can do that. And so I loved doing that. And many times at teaching conferences, I would send proposals in to teach how to teach writing. And it just so happens that, I would always post, I did this session at this conference or this session at this conference. And someone reached out to me and he said that he was with a publisher and he wondered if I was interested in creating a book to go with my writing instruction that I provide, at conferences. And I was also consulting at schools even.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and so I thought it was, I really did think it was a scam. And so I requested that he Zoom with me to make sure he was a real person and to find out more. And I had all this list of questions and I looked up the publisher and I'm like, oh, it really is, a really nice publisher. And then I got on the Zoom with him and I apologized. I was like, I'm sorry, I really didn't believe you. And
Quite right.
and and he said, well, he said, I think you've got a book there. And I said, well, I like writing short books, picture books, 500 words. And he said, well, think of it this way. Like if you were doing like your very favorite writing lessons, if you just think about doing a lesson a day until you can get to that 50,000 word count. And I'm like, okay. And, really, it wasn't creating anything new. It was all here and here. I knew the lessons I wanted to teach. So it was a matter of how do I want to make this work? So I did, some best practice research stuff in the beginning, like the course syllabi that were scanned to show that colleges don't offer methods of teaching writing, and
Mm.
just some of the best practice research to show people who might be wanting to use the book that it is based on best practice. And then from there, I decided it's called Writing from Scratch because I decided I wanted to do a culinary theme because each lesson is a recipe. And
Yeah.
so if you think about when you're teaching a lesson, so the ingredients list is what do you need for this lesson? So
Wow.
you need like certain video clips or props or mentor texts, things like that. And so that's the ingredients. The appetizer is the hook. So how are you going to hook your readers in or your writers in to understand why this particular skill is important for their writing, for their life? How is it used in real life? To kind of get the buy-in there, to get them to understand why they need to learn it. And then the cooking instructions are how to do the lesson. And then the dessert is how will you share it at the end. So maybe it's a couple of kids that did a really great job, get to share a couple of examples so it re-exemplifies your lesson. Or
Wow.
maybe it's they have a product. Maybe they're going to create a brochure or a book or something, a podcast.
Mm.
And so
That's
what is
incredible.
that? Or is there an authentic audience? Or do they get to share, like maybe like when I taught third grade, we would sometimes share our end product with the kindergartners. So they each had their one-on-one little audience that they got to share something with. And so that was the dessert. But I just filled the book with recipes of all the different ways that you can teach different writing lessons that lead up to, hopefully over time they've learned all of these different skills. And when they're putting together a piece, they can remember, oh, I should maybe try playing around with some alliteration here, or this would be a great place for some onomatopoeia, or oh, I need to make sure that I do this. Different ways to organize, all of those things are part of the book. And I use it with teachers all over in different states and at conferences and professional development workshops. And so that's kind of how that book was born. I hadn't ever intended to write it. It was something that he said, oh, I think if you write this, this would be a good resource for you when you go and share it with teachers.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I just think it's incredible. What a great idea. And thank you for taking that plunge and doing it. Because wow, it feels good filling a need for sure.
Well,
and,
I definitely
we are out of time, Shannon. I cannot believe that our podcast went this long and this fast. And this was such a delight. I didn't even get to all my questions. Hey, all right. So we're gonna have part 2 with Shannon. So please stay tuned and a bit. All right, Brandon.
Come back.
okay.